Is Shamu the whale a squatter? Coming up, I'll tell you about a multi-million-dollar lease dispute between SeaWorld and the city of San Diego. I'll tell you who's at fault, why city politicians are being hypocrites, and whether or not Shamu better get ready to pack his bags. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. And yes, Shamu is being accused of being a squatter. You know, Shamu, the whale, at the SeaWorld park in Southern California, specifically in the city of San Diego. Well, right now, there is a lease dispute, a number of lawsuits that have been filed, where the city of San Diego is claiming that Shamu, the whale, and its owners, SeaWorld Corporation, owe the city of San Diego millions of dollars in unpaid rent under the lease for the park where SeaWorld is located in San Diego. Here is NBC San Diego on this story.
Time is running out for SeaWorld to pay the back rent to the city of San Diego that the city says it owes to taxpayers. If SeaWorld does not write a $12 million check soon, the city says it will file a lawsuit. NBC7's Allison Ash is outside SeaWorld after hearing from city officials who are not at all happy that it's come to this.
City officials are using words like greedy, selfish, and disrespectful to describe the corporation that owns SeaWorld. For more than 50 years, the park has enjoyed this place in San Diego and its hospitality. But now the welcome mat may be wearing thin.
I have no doubt we would be just fine, even if SeaWorld was not here. I don't want that necessarily, though. At a certain point, we have to draw a line in the sand and say that nobody is so special that they shouldn't pay their bills, especially when they have the means to do so.
Okay, so that's Liberal City Council member Sean Elo Rivera. I'm surprised he didn't start out with his personal pronouns in the interview. Now, right now, you're probably thinking, here you have a corporation. They've got a lease. They're not paying rent. Open and shut case, right? Shamu's a squatter. And this big evil corporation, which, by the way, what did they say? Greedy and selfish corporation needs to pay up. Very clear black and white case that NBC's presenting here, right? Of course, they're a liberal news outlet. They always take the side of the government machinery. But there's more to this story, a lot more. You see, SeaWorld was shut down in the city of San Diego during COVID, the pandemic. We know where this is headed, right? SeaWorld was told by the city of San Diego under these draconian lockdowns, which everyone knows were unnecessary and did not work and caused a lot of havoc. SeaWorld was told during the pandemic that they were not allowed to even open their gates, that they were not allowed to utilize the property and be an amusement park. That was a directive by the city of San Diego politicians. That's the government saying you're not allowed to use this property and be an amusement park. You cannot let people come in. You cannot sell tickets. You cannot utilize the property for your business. But the city of San Diego expected SeaWorld to continue to pay on their lease, which is pretty amazingly presumptuous of them, that the business that you've just told cannot actually use parkland somehow has to now pay you for the non-use. Oh, it gets even better. See, the city of San Diego politicians enacted a number of eviction moratoriums during COVID and told landlords across the city, private landlords, that they were not allowed to enforce their contracts. And they enacted a number of other rent control mandates that make it really hard to be a landlord, the financial losses, the idea that you can enforce your contract anymore, expect people to pay on time, hold yourself and protect yourself from predatory tenants and bad tenants and squatters. All that's out the window of the city of San Diego. San Diego City is about as unfriendly as it can be to be a property owner or a landlord. Unless you're the government, in which case you get to dictate and you get to enforce and you get to go to court anytime you want and hold everyone accountable to every single word in the contract. So it's $12.2 million in back rent that the city is seeking. They filed a lawsuit, but now SeaWorld, to its credit, is filing a countersuit. And they're saying that not only do they not owe this rent because they were not given access to use the property pursuant to the lease, but they, quote, suffered substantial damages as a result of the COVID-19 closures. And by the way, I hope more businesses sue every government enterprise that completely screwed up public policy when it comes to COVID. They overreacted. They were not following science. Their draconian measures caused a lot of damage, a lot of financial losses. And government, when it screws up, should be forced to make people whole. I won't hold my breath, though, in the state of California. But basically, the park's lawyers, SeaWorld's lawyers, are saying that the financial consequences resulted in financial losses. As a result, SeaWorld not only doesn't owe the money, but it should actually be made whole. The SeaWorld lawsuit states, quote, the city would be unjustly enriched at SeaWorld's expense if it awarded the damages it seeks in the complaint. This is the city's complaint demanding the $12.2 million in back rent. SeaWorld was ready and willing to fulfill its obligations under the lease and utilize the premise for required and intended uses under the lease, but was damaged when the city forced the park's closure. Pretty commonsensical, right? Does that sound greedy or selfish? Not to me, not to anyone else who is given the full story. But again, NBC San Diego, liberal, gaslighting, corrupt, and untrustworthy as a media outlet. And the city politicians, they literally are lying to the public and demanding payment where, frankly, arguably payment is not due. But the galling part of this story is the double standard. This is the same city that told landlords during COVID that tenants were the victims, that tenants shouldn't have to pay their rent, and that no evictions should happen for the sake of public health. Now, in the case of the tenants, they actually got the use of their apartments. They got to stay, in many cases, rent-free. Landlords were not made whole. A lot of landlords went bankrupt, lost properties, weren't able to make the debt service, the mortgage payments on their properties. The city didn't do anything to help them out. The city didn't care. But with SeaWorld, unlike those tenants that the city politicians have protected, SeaWorld did not get use of their park. They were told by government they were not allowed to open their doors. They could not sell tickets. They could not have people enter into the park. And so we'll see where this goes in terms of the lawsuit. But should it really even have to go to court? Or should the voters and the general public tell the city of San Diego politicians, knock it off? You all are the predatory ones. You're hypocrites. You demanding payment when you've never supported landlords when the role was reversed. So we'll see where this goes. We will continue to monitor it. I won't be surprised if some liberal judge sides with the city of San Diego. Remember, the judges are in on the racket in a lot of cases as well. But I thought it was kind of cute to consider whether Shamu, A, is a squatter, and B, whether Shamu could end up being evicted from his little amusement park. I think there's some people at PETA would love to see that happen, and maybe that's part of the bigger plot here. At Reform California, we're trying to end the double standard and the hypocrisy in stories like this. We believe that your government ought to be held accountable. We believe that your government ought to live under the same rules as the rest of us with no special exemptions. So go online to reformcalifornia.org, sign up, and make sure that you stay in touch with a lot of the news stories that we have up there. Share them. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification button so that you're updated when we post our daily news updates on California news and politics. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.